before we start our petals, we have to make the former for our hibiscus to sit in while it dries, if you don't already have one. So take your tin foil and your jar, and we're going to form a cone. Just start by folding it over, and then use your fingers to kind of form a tight cone or a throat, and then fold the tin foil over the top, and it's going to hang outside the jar. Put it over the jar and just smooth the sides down. And then take your dry center to poke the wire down through your former so that it's easier to get it in when the wet petals are on there. And there you have your former. Okay, to start the petals, roll your gum paste pretty thin. And then use your hibiscus cutter. We're going to cut 5 petals. And keep the cutouts under plastic while you're working so that they don't dry out. Okay, once we have all 5 petals cut out, we're going to do this optional step, which is to vein the petals. If you have a 2-sided veiner, we're just going to press it in between both sides. If you only have one side, use your small pink foam to press down over the back and put the impression on the front side of the petal. And do that with all 5. Alright, once all 5 petals are veined, have them on your foam ready to go. If you can't work quickly enough on all of them at the same time, keep the extra ones under plastic so the edges don't dry out. We're going to thin, if your tool sticks a bit, dip it in cornstarch, and we're going to thin the edges with the ball tool half on the petal, half on the foam. Run it around with moderate pressure. We're looking to thin the edges and give it a little bit of ruffle. Alright, once all of the petals are ruffled and thinned, we're going to put them together in a fan shape. Use a small amount of gum glue, just a tiny bit, and only apply it to the very narrow part of the petal. Then put the next one on top and you're going to fan it out a bit, pressing down on the narrow part. Last one. And there we have it, a little fan of petals. Now it's time to add the center part. Just put that down in the center, in the middle of your fan. Zoom in a bit. Put just again a little bit of gum glue on the center of the fan, and then a little bit at the base of your hibiscus center, and then give it a good press. And then we're going to roll one edge over and then the other. So bring one side over and press that on. And then a tiny bit of gum glue on the back so that they stick together, and then roll the rest around. Sorry about that. Alright, hold it upside down so that the petals don't break before you get it in the former. You can arrange them a bit if you need to overlap them some more. And bring your jar over and then invert it, supporting the petals into the hole that we already made. And arrange your petals. And there you have it. You can use some cotton to give some dimension, some movement to the petals if you want to. Just prop some of them up. And that's pretty much it. We're going to let this dry overnight for about 24 hours before we can move on to finishing it up with the yellow stamens. But that's it. And that's your hibiscus. Okay, after your flowers dried in about 24 hours, and it's been rainy here, so this one's not quite dry, but go ahead and dust your flower before you start this next step. I don't know if it picks up on camera, but I like to add a little darker in the center and then lighter on the outside. And don't forget to dust the pistil as well, the center. And now we're going to cover our wire with floral tape. If the back of your flower is going to be seen, you can add a calyx. It's just, for the hibiscus, it's a little tiny 6-petal flower shape, but I've added them in the past and I find they just break when I go to arrange my flowers on the cake, so I don't even do it anymore. Just the floral tape, so if anything's seen, it's just the green from the floral tape and not the ugly wire. And then for this demonstration, I'm using piping gel. Normally I would use royal icing. It doesn't really matter, but I didn't want to make a whole batch of royal icing just for the sake of this demonstration. And I have it just in a little tiny parchment cone that I just snipped a narrow tip for. And then we're just going to add dots and just add them at random all over. And again, the yellow stamens only go down about a 1/4 inch to maybe a 1/2 inch below the red stamens. I'm sorry, I'm bad with measurements. And that's all there is to it. That's your hibiscus flower. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you found this tutorial helpful.